very good evening to you. You're watching Primetime News on News First. I'm Chaturanga Haparachi. Before we head into the stories in detail, let's first take a look at the headlines.
Drone search for debris of flaming ship. Take all measures to curb damage caused to the environment. Instructions from the President. Airports open for inbound travellers from the 1st of June. President's Council Sanjay Rajaratnam sworn in as the new Attorney General.
Today is Vesak full moon Poya, which marks the most significant events in the life of Lord Buddha. Buddhist devotees across the world celebrate the birth, death and enlightenment of Lord Buddha today.
Over 2,600 years ago, on Vesak full moon Poya day, the final birth of Bodhisattva took place in Lumbini. It is said that the newborn infant had walked on 7 lotus flowers which emerged suddenly before him. After coming into direct contact with the stark realities of life, or the Satara Piranimiti, a sick man, a decrepit old man, a corpse and a monk, the Prince Siddhartha was determined to become an ascetic. One peaceful Vesak night, as he was seated under the famous Pippala tree at Buddha Gaya, he attained perfect enlightenment and became Samma Sambuddha. At the age of 80 years, Gautama Buddha had his last meal offered and rested on the couch placed between 2 sal trees in the Upavartana sal grove and attained Parinibbana on a Vesak full moon Poya day. The Vesak full moon Poya day is important to Sri Lankans in a religious, cultural and a social perspective. According to Buddhist history, Lord Buddha's 3rd visit to Sri Lanka also took place on a Vesak full moon Poya day. Lord Buddha visited Kalaniya on the invitation of the Naga King Manika of Kalaniya on a day like today.
Due to the prevailing travel restrictions in the country, devotees observed still within their homes to mark Vesak Poya day. Places of worship that are usually crowded during this festive season were almost deserted today. At a time when the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the entire world, in line with the Vesak celebrations, the Ratana Sutraya was chanted from the Kaluthara Botri to the God-faced green to invoke blessings upon the world. The event was held under the auspices of the Chief Incumbent Venerable Maligoda and was funded by the Kaluthara Bodhi Council. The event was attended by the Chairman of the Council, Ajit D'Souza. An almsgiving was also held in line with the Vesak festival at the Dehiwala Zoo today.
As Sri Lanka observes Vesak at home today, Gammadda has made it possible to mark this important day online with the launch of the Gammadda Dhamsavya online Vesak zone. Viewers can visit the website www.gammadda.lk in order to join the Gammadda Dhamsavya online Vesak zone. Many devotees joined the Gammadda Dhamsavya online Vesak zone through the website. The pandal depicts the Apannaka Jatakaya, a story that highlights many important aspects of good leadership, including a foundation of truth. The zone will include a digital online pandal for which the artistic impressions were created by veteran artist Hemantha Warakagoda. Sirasa FM, led by Prasad Liyanarachi, contributed to the project through voice acting.
Special religious events were telecast on the day of the Vesak Poya Day celebrations on our network throughout the day. Worshipping the chief disciples was carried out at the Mahabodhi Vihara in Maradana this morning. The relic worshipping ceremony that was aired live from the Nelligal International Buddhist Center in Kandy was conducted by the founder of the Nelligal International Buddhist Center and the present chief incumbent of Kuragala, Venerable Waturakumbure Dhammaratana Thero. The Satpyuma Dhamma discussion will be telecast on our sister channel Sirasa TV from 10:30 p.m. with the participation of Venerable Dodampahala Rahula Thero and Venerable Waturakumbure Dhammaratana Thero. In his Vesak Poya Day message, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says, and I quote, "It is our precious tradition practiced since the ancient times for the devotees, along with their children, to perform religious observances during the Vesak season, to mold their lives according to the teachings of the Buddha, as well as for the betterment of this world and after." End quote. The message adds, and I quote, "We should keep in mind the advice given by the Trinayaka Mahanayaka Theros to hold the state Vesak festival only symbolically in view of the current pandemic in the country." End quote. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa further said that like last year, Sri Lankans have lost the opportunity to engage in religious observances collectively this year as well on the recommendations of the health sector due to the global COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa in his message for Vesak requests that devotees celebrate the Vesak full moon Poya Day, giving priority to Pratipatti Puja from homes. Prime Minister wishes a spiritual Vesak full moon Poya Day with patience, compassion and kindness. In his message, the leader of the opposition Sajith Premadasa stated that teachings of the Lord Buddha regarding health and happiness is most important today. He requests that the Vesak Poya Day be celebrated, giving priority to the Pratipatti Puja.
Meanwhile, Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, has issued a message in light of the Vesak full moon Poya Day.
Ayubowan, Namaskar. Utum Vesak Poya Dine Vinuve, Ob Saman, Indian Maha Commissaris Karyalay, Hardyangam Subhashinsan Perinamami, Podudaham Yana एकम पेकनी वेल वेदागन्ना आध्यात्मिक वशीयेन न्यून सहोदरयन बंधु इंडियावर सह श्रीलंकावर वैसाख उत्सवे वैदगतकम अतिमार्ग इंडियावर सह श्रीलंकावर यन रटवल देकम आगमक वशीयेन पवनक नोव दर्शनयक सह जीवन क्रमयक वशीयेन बुद्धधमे तिमिरगेय वीमट भाग्यवंत वी तिवेनुवा.
We report, you decide.
Meanwhile, the United Nations in Sri Lanka, along with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other member states represented in Colombo, hosted a virtual commemoration of the International Day of Vesak. In 1999, the United Nations General Assembly unanimously adopted Resolution 554/115, moved by Lakshman Kadirgamar, the then Sri Lankan Foreign Minister. The resolution was co-sponsored by over 30 member states. Vesak Day is now internationally accorded as the United Nations Observance Day.
As many of you know, Vesak was brought to the international attention thanks to the late Sri Lankan Foreign Minister, Mr. Lakshman Kadirgamar, to whom we pay special tribute. Thanks to him, a resolution was tabled at the General Assembly along with other member states to include Vesak in the list of official UN international days. On this day of Vesak, let's resolve to build lives of peace and dignity for all on a healthy planet.
Today is a day for the whole humanity to observe, as Buddhism is considered with the most precious aspects of spiritual, philosophical, ethical, intellectual, cultural, artistic and social heritage of the entire humankind. Today is also celebrated by 1/5 of the world's population as the 2610th anniversary of the birth of Buddha. The Buddha teachings are not confined to caste, gender or nationality. They are universal principles and teachings available to all. Buddhism recognizes that all religions share the same aim of working for well-being of mankind. Everywhere Buddhism traveled, it never tried to replace whatever belief systems or practices which existed prior to its coming. With ease of tolerance and accommodation, Buddhism took in and understood all that was of value in every culture. We are facing unprecedented times that are stress for us all, a time that challenges our relationship, and we have witnessed globally situations of anger and hostility. We must reject hate and ensure that there is no room for it in our responses.
With those messages about Vesak, we move on with more local news. But before that, a reminder to our viewers that you can be a part of the Gam at the Damsaviya online Vesak zone by simply logging on to the website www.gamathe.lk. The Navy launched an operation to disperse groups collecting debris of the Express Pearl that washed ashore along the coastal belt spanning from Dikovita to Chilau. The Navy also conducted similar operations along the Vellavatta and Panadura coasts. The general public were requested to keep away from this debris as it could contain dangerous chemical substances.
The fire on board the Express Pearl that set sail from India erupted last Wednesday. The vessel, which is registered under the flag of Singapore, had carried 1,486 containers with 25 tons of nitric acid, several other chemicals and cosmetics. It had departed from the port of Hazira in India on the 15th of May 2021. When the fire erupted, the ship was anchored 9.5 nautical miles northwest of the Colombo port. Although the Sri Lanka Navy and the Port Authority took steps to douse the fire, the weather and reactions among the chemicals on board the ship had caused the flames to reignite. The India Vajra and Vaibhav vessels are standing by to assist in efforts to douse the fire. 850 kilograms of chemicals were dropped on the flaming ship by a Bell 212 helicopter. Drones continue to monitor the debris that scattered from the ship. Although it was announced that one of the rescued crew members of the ship tested positive for COVID-19, a second PCR test conducted on the same crew member revealed that he was not infected with the virus. 2 of the 23 crew members rescued from the ship are currently lodging at a hotel under the bio-bubble concept. Specialists who arrived in Sri Lanka had been provided with a special lodging at the Colombo fort. The fire continues to rage on.
The Newsfirst team has been travelling to the coastal areas of Negombo today. On a normal day, the beaches of this area are filled with beige colour sand, full of life. However, not today. Today the beaches seem to be black in colour, and it is all because of the debris that has washed ashore, the debris that is coming from the blazing ship MV Express Pearl.
प्लास्टिक ये तो मेरे बैग गल दिए नहीं chocolate, Kit Kat, strawberry दिए ना
When we travelled here, we saw some people trying to touch the debris and trying to come in contact with the debris, and some even tried to collect parts of it. The authorities have strongly urged the general public not to do so, as this debris contains hazardous substances.
We have initiated investigation to trace the persons who had collected those items. Today is a day where the quarantine order in respect of restriction its movement is implemented. Therefore, if a person or the persons have gathered in the beach, they have violated quarantine rules and regulations, and the quarantine order in respect of restriction of movements. In addition to that, according to the experts, these items are sometimes harmful to the human body. Therefore, we are conducting investigation to trace the suspects and the items that they have collected, and they would be dealt with the law, and they would be charged in the court under the Quarantine and Prevention of Diseases Ordinance and the relevant sections of the Penal Code.
The Office of the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka informed Indians in Sri Lanka to refrain from visiting the coast spanning from Colombo to Negombo as debris from the ship continues to wash ashore.
Especially the people who touch those waste will get some sort of allergic situation or maybe some carcinogenic impacts they will receive. At the same time, we again request all of you to not to touch whatever beach on this area, because there will not be any value on that. For the moment, we know that there is an impact on whole marine life in this area. Because of this, we have banned the fishing in these areas. Therefore, we expect that the this ban will be remaining at least for a couple of weeks. But in long run, there will be some impact from the coastal fishes. But those results will be revealed once those results are revealed. Definitely, we will aware and we will educate you regarding how to consume or whether it should be consumed or not. We will aware the general public. Urban areas will not be affected directly by this beach waste, but the toxic fume will carry into inland areas. For example, the areas like Pamunugama and the suburbs. Therefore, we request people to be in their houses, not to go out, and always wear masks. And if they feel some sort of eye irritation or maybe allergic situations or burning sensation in their breathing canals, tracts, please contact the nearest doctors and search for medications.
Whether we have a mechanism to face dangers such as this throughout the history of our country is a serious issue. If we are expecting economic benefits from the special shipping route located in our sea region, we have to be prepared in a better way. We did not see such safety measures in these two recent accidents we have experienced in our sea region in the recent past. If damage has been caused to our oceans by an Indian vessel, the Indians should have taken better action to control the situation. If by any chance this unfortunate incident had occurred within the inner boundaries of our port, the damage would have been much worse.
සීමාව ඇතුලේ සිද්ධ වුණා නම් මීට වඩා විශාල විනාශයක් මේ තුලින් සිද්ධ වෙන්නට තිබ්බා.
President's Counsel Sanjay Rajaratnam was sworn in as the new Attorney General in the presence of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat today. His letter of appointment was presented by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
President's Counsel Rajaratnam has served in the Attorney General's department for 34 years. He served the department in the capacities of Senior State Counsel, Deputy Solicitor General, Additional Solicitor General, Senior Additional Solicitor General and Acting Solicitor General. Educated at St. Peter's College, Colombo and Royal College, Colombo, he holds a Masters of Law from Queen's Mary University, London. President's Counsel Rajaratnam is also a solicitor in England and Wales. He was appointed as the President's Counsel in November 2014 and also served as an advisor to several government agencies, including the Financial Intelligence Unit of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has welcomed the appointment of President's Counsel Sanjay Rajaratnam to the office of the Attorney General. Issuing a communique, the BASL has wished him well in the discharge of his duties. The BASL has also expressed their confidence that President's Counsel Rajaratnam will exercise his duties impartially and maintain the independence of the office. The BASL, issuing a statement, said, quote, "We look to him to uphold the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary and the fundamental human rights of the people," end quote. The BASL commended His Excellency the President and the Parliamentary Council for giving due consideration to the vital criteria when appointing the Attorney General on the first occasion. Such an appointment was made after the enactment of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution.
Meanwhile, former Attorney General Dappula de Oliveira retired from service on the 24th of this month.
On the 10th of May 2019, the Honorable Dappula de Oliveira was appointed by His Excellency the President as the 30th Attorney General of Sri Lanka. Having obtained his primary and secondary education at St. Joseph's College, Colombo and at St. Anthony's College, Kandy, Mr. de Oliveira was admitted as an attorney at law of the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka in 1984. In 1985, he joined the Attorney General's Department as State Counsel. He was promoted as Senior State Counsel in 1996 and as Deputy Solicitor General in 2005. Shortly after his appointment as Additional Solicitor General in 2014, His Excellency the President conferred on Mr. De Oliveira the honorific President's Council. Mr. De Oliveira has also served as State Counsel of the Attorney General's Department of the Republic of Seychelles. Former AG De Oliveira has appeared in a number of high-profile cases in Sri Lanka. He also acted as the Chief Prosecutor at the Presidential Commission probing the controversial central bank bond scam.
In weather news, property damages have been reported island-wide as a result of gale force winds battering the island at present.
A woman was injured when a tree fell onto a house in Walimada, Uvaparanagama following strong winds in the area. High winds were experienced in Hambantota and its vicinity yesterday and today. Multiple trees were uprooted in Chilau as a result of gale force winds ripping through the area. Many uprooted trees had collapsed onto the Hatton-Nuwara main road following strong winds. The shrine room and other buildings of the Sri Gangarama temple in Ibbankatuwa, Dambulla were dealt extensive damage after a tree collapsed. A tree had also toppled onto Kandy-Colombo main road opposite the railway station in Kandy. A mango tree toppled onto a set of estate houses in Halwatura, Ingiriya this evening. A high-tension power cable in Kakulelia, Poruwadanda, Horana was damaged when a tree toppled onto it following strong winds. Supply of electricity to 76,000 consumers has been suspended following incidents of trees toppling onto power cables. According to the media spokesperson of the Ministry of Power, Sulakshana Jayawardena, power supply to consumers in Dambulla, Kurunagala, Ratnapura, Kegol, Horana, Ingiriya, Balangoda and Kuliyapitiya has been suspended. The Department of Meteorology has forecast strong winds between 40 to 50 km per hour across the island. The department adds, wind speeds in the western slopes of the Central Hills, North Central and Northwestern provinces, Trincomalee and Hambantota districts can increase up to 60 km per hour. The cyclonic storm Yas has made landfall in the eastern coast of India this morning.
Meanwhile, a portion of the road that leads to the Gamini Disanayaka reservoir has sunk. According to our correspondent, the chief engineer of the Gamini Disanayaka reservoir and police officers have carried out an on-site inspection at the location this morning. This was the manner in which the road leading to the Gamini Disanayaka reservoir was sunk.
A portion of the access road to the Gamini Disanayaka reservoir has sunk this morning. This does not have any impact on the reservoir.
Drawing your attention to COVID-19 related news, 2,325 patients were identified in the country regarding COVID-19 a short while ago. Thereby, the total number of COVID-19 patients currently stands at 172,225. And according to health sources, 1,269 people have died in the country as a result of COVID-19. Meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed officials to administer the second batch of the Chinese Sinopharm vaccine to the public from today. Issuing a release, the President's media division said that His Excellency the President has urged the authorities to expedite the vaccination process. In line with that directive, plans are afoot to distribute the vaccine vials across many districts in the country, giving priority to recommendations issued by health officials. The Sri Lankan Airlines flight, which carried 500,000 vials of the Chinese Sinopharm vaccine, arrived in the country early this morning.
Sri Lankan Airlines flight UL869 carrying 500,000 doses of Sinopharm vaccines arrived at the Bandaranaike International Airport at 12:10 am this morning. The Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka, Kee Zen Hong, officially handed over the vaccines to Minister of Health Pavitra Wanniyarachi, Minister Namal Rajapaksa, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga, Minister D.V. Chanaka and State Minister Channa Jayasumana upon arrival.
We would like to extend our thanks to the Chinese government for this massive donation. So far, 1.1 million vaccine vials have been donated by the Chinese government to Sri Lanka. That was of immense help for us in this dire situation. China is a superpower that has been there for Sri Lanka throughout history. On behalf of the Sri Lankan government, I would like to thank the Chinese government once again.
The Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka made another special announcement today. 2 million vials of the Sinopharm vaccine will be made available for purchase in another month. The Chinese ambassador further said that medical equipment essential to our country will also be provided by the Chinese government in the future. Also, we are supposed to receive stocks of the Russian Sputnik vaccine too. Further details as to how many vials we will receive and when we will receive them will come to light tomorrow. State Minister Jayasumana also spoke about the local manufacturing process of vaccines. The Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka also spoke about the Sinovac vaccine manufactured in China. We are hoping to manufacture the Sinovac vaccine here in Sri Lanka in a joint effort between the Chinese and us in the coming 2 months. Plans are already in motion for that at a factory located in Kundasale. Thereafter, the 500,000 vials of the Chinese Sinopharm vaccine were transported to the Central Vaccine Storage Facility in Colombo.
The program to administer 500,000 doses of the Chinese-manufactured Sinopharm vaccine, which was gifted to Sri Lanka from China and handed over to the President, commenced this morning in the district of Kurunegala as per the directions of the President. The head of state has issued instructions to administer the vaccines expeditiously to the public. Accordingly, the vaccines will be administered to the public across selected parts of Kurunegala, Galle and Madra districts tomorrow, based upon the advice of the Epidemiology Unit of the Ministry of Health. For this purpose, several teams including PHIs have been deployed to these areas to assist with the vaccination administration process. This was the manner in which the family members of medical officers were administered the second dose of the Covishield AstraZeneca vaccine at the National Eye Hospital in Colombo today. Many people were seen in long queues today outside the hospital, even violating quarantine regulations. Although it was scheduled to administer the vaccine to family members of medical officers through an SMS message sent to the selected number of people, people who were not on the list were also present to receive the jab at the hospital.
Like this, we receive a special portal from the Ministry of Health to our mobile phones.
Registration portal will be open for registration soon.
Through this portal, we cannot be registered for 3 days. What are we to do to this? There is no point of us being vaccinated. This is not social distancing. People are tired of waiting in line for 7 to 8 hours.
Thereafter, police officers arrived at the location and made sure that social distancing was adhered to.
Minister Udayagamampila spoke about those who violate quarantine regulations.
We informed that travel restrictions will be imposed beforehand. We also informed that the travel restrictions will be relaxed every 3 days. However, people left their houses to purchase items as if they were restricted to homes for months. We have to be more disciplined. We have been compelled to restrict movement because of those who take advantage when the restrictions are lifted, which has resulted in the spread of the virus.
Meanwhile, views were expressed with regards to parliamentarians as well as parliament staff contracting COVID-19. We have suspicions whether there is now a parliament cluster. Why did the government leave room for a parliament cluster to emerge? Why did the speaker allow this? Parliament was suddenly convened for the sake of passing the Colombo Port City Economic Commission Bill, not for the benefit of the country. It is the responsibility of the Speaker to ensure the well-being of members of Parliament and the parliamentary staff. Irrespective of what the government government says the Speaker should take an independent decision in this regard. This Speaker took no such decision. Room was given to approve this. If an MP is faced with a dangerous situation, will the government take responsibility for that? Will the Speaker take responsibility for that? Or will the President and the Prime Minister take responsibility for that? In order to fulfill the Chinese agenda, the government kept Parliament in operation and now have created a COVID-19 cluster inside Parliament.
Transparency International Sri Lanka pointed out that serious concerns continue to linger around the new Colombo Port City law.
Issuing a press release, Transparency International Sri Lanka highlighted 5 concerns surrounding the Port City Economic Commission Act. TISL, in the concerns raised, highlighted that the hasty process adopted failed to uphold the right to information of the people. The fact that parliamentarians were not given adequate time to review the revised version of the bill. Establishment and inadequate oversight of offshore banks and companies could lead to Port City attracting money laundering and illicit financial flows. Lack of public access to beneficial ownership information could lead to Port City becoming a secrecy jurisdiction that provides a safe haven for proceeds of crime. And TISL highlights that Sri Lanka faces the risk of being downgraded in the Financial Action Task Force rankings due to the Port City. TISL adds that this in turn would have a detrimental effect on the country's ability to obtain foreign aid, loans and lawful investments.
Still in local news, Secretary of Defence General Kamal Gunratna dismissed propaganda disseminated with regard to likely terrorist activities in the island, stating that the reports are baseless. In a communique, the Defence Secretary reassured the public that the Ministry of Defence, Armed Forces and other law enforcement agencies have established national security in the country. He said the public should not panic on security. The communique highlights that the US State Department imposing travel restrictions on Sri Lanka under the Level 4 category with the inclusion of terrorist threats is a common occurrence according to their classification. Now, while all of this is happening in the country, there are incidents of farmers reporting that they are without fertilizer. You can read up on all the issues faced by the farmers in the country on our website www.newsfirst.lk.
While the woes of farmers deepen each day, the decision to import luxury vehicles for MPs has drawn the spotlight in recent weeks. Leader of the JVP, Annukumar Dissanayake, expressed the following views on the matter. Because of a lack of dollars, the government has stopped importing turmeric and tires. They must feel guilty of what they are doing to the people. Only the true rulers will feel guilty. They don't represent the genuine people. There is information regarding this effort to import vehicles during this pandemic being halted. However, can it be done legally? Because letters of credit have been opened to do this. This was going to be done surreptitiously. Did they not know of the COVID-19 pandemic when the Prime Minister presented the cabinet paper? Did they not know about the lack of dollars in the country? They knew, but now it has backfired.
That's all the news we have for you this evening, but before we go, a COVID-19 treatment ward at the Panadura Base Hospital, constructed by funds donated by the general public of Sri Lanka, was commissioned today. Public contributions raised a total of 40 million rupees to this COVID-19 ward. This gesture of kindness and humanity by the people of Sri Lanka for their fellow brothers and sisters in need sends an important message to all of us on this blessed day of Vesak. We leave you tonight with footage of the fruits of these efforts of our fellow Sri Lankans that will continue to help countless COVID-19 patients in the country recover. Good night. I'm Chaturang Hapwarat.